Well, hello there. My name is Christopher Scott, and I serve as a small groups pastor at a local church. And maybe you're watching this video, you're a small group facilitator. Maybe you facilitate a Sunday school class or something like that. Maybe you lead a support group. In this video, I want to talk to you about how to affirm what people say in your small group, right? How do you affirm what people say, right? The goal of a small group is to get people to talk, to share what they're learning, how they're growing, how they're applying what they're learning to their lives. But sometimes that's difficult, and one of the ways you foster a good environment for discussion is affirming what people say in your group. So first, let me talk to you. How do you not affirm what people say, right? So what do you not want to do in your small group? Two things you don't want to do in your small group as you're facilitating a Bible study or a lesson or whatever that might be. First thing you don't want to do is you don't want to make it obvious that there's only one right answer. Don't make it obvious that there's only one right answer or that there's just, one specific answer you're looking for. One of the first seminary classes I had was with a guy who was actually a preaching professor, but he was teaching this class on spiritual life. And a part of me wishes he would have just preached for the hour and a half each time we had class. But instead, he tried to facilitate a discussion. And he would ask these questions, and there was about 20 of us in the group, and it was a U-shaped room. We all sat in a U-shaped round. And he'd ask these questions, but nobody ever had the right answer, right? He had asked this question, and he had one specific theologically biblically correct answer he was looking for, and nobody could ever seem to get it. So by the end of the semester, when he asked questions, what happened? Nobody said nothing, right? And I was one of those people because I would try to speak up at the beginning and share. Oh, I guess that's not what he wants. That's clearly wrong. So you don't make it obvious that there's only one right answer. That's the first thing of how you don't want to affirm what people say, okay? Second is don't tell people they are wrong. If you facilitate a small group and you're letting people share, there's going to be sometimes people say some wacky things. And even though it's going to be unbiblical, not correct, maybe not politically polite, things like that, maybe a little racial at times, don't tell people wrong, right? Don't tell people that they are wrong. Don't say that's not in the Bible, that's not biblical, I think you're wrong, right? So you're going to be times where you just got to kind of overlook it. Maybe you change the subject, or maybe you just, you say, we're going to come back to that a little bit later, okay? And so don't tell people are wrong, but instead you want to try to point them back to the Bible if you can. So for example, there's a foundations small group that I facilitate for newer Christians, newer believers. And sometimes we hear some weird things in that group. And one that I've heard is babies are born with the Holy Spirit inside of them. I've heard that on two specific occasions from two different people at different times separately. Babies are born with the Holy Spirit inside of them. So instead of me saying, I disagree with you, or that's wrong, or that's unbiblical, I say, that's an interesting perspective, but there's a few Bible passages that I think teach something contrary, right? So I pointed her to Isaiah 53:6. Psalm 51:5, and Romans 3:23, right? I say, let's look at those passages and see what they say about the topic you're talking about. So how not to affirm what people say in your group. Don't make it obvious that there's only one right answer, and don't tell them that they're wrong. So how do you affirm what people say? I like to have kind of my own little tool belt of phrases I use to affirm what people say, especially people that don't talk very often, or especially people that are newer to the group and have just joined. So I have a few phrases I wrote down here I just want to share with you. I like how you phrase that, or thank you for sharing, or that's a good point. Great observation from that passage. I see what you're saying. Earlier you said this, and it relates to this, or I like how you pointed that out, or that's an interesting observation. So you want to find a little tool belt that you can throw some of those phrases in and that you use regularly when you need it. And when you have a brand new person in your group that's just joining, you want to give that person some extra affirmation, because it takes a little courage to speak up. A group's been meeting for 5 or 10 years together. This person joins the group. Takes a little courage to speak up, so try to affirm what that person says in the group as much as you can. So my name's Christopher Scott. Hope this was a helpful video for you. I hope that you can affirm what people say in your small group and encourage them as they attend and get involved and to discuss and talk about it. If you found this video helpful, you can subscribe up there and get updates on future videos. I got a bunch of other small group facilitator tips up there. If you want some brief 5-minute introductions to books of the Bible, I got a playlist over there. Or if you want to learn to facilitate a small group Bible study, I got some videos over there. Thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you again soon in another video.